So, a student of Dowen College reached out to me and he had a lot to say about the ongoing issue regarding the Dowen scandal and the 5 accused students who are currently in police custody for the role that they played in the death of Sylvester Oromoni. So initially I told myself I was done with this Dowen story. The case is finally in court as it was last reported. And so I told myself, maybe whenever there is a major update, I would speak about it. For now, whatever rumors that go around, I'm not going to make a video on it because it's in court. So whatever happens should happen, in court. But this particular student, in everything that we talked about, because at first I told myself, okay, I guess he's going to speak on behalf of the school. I wanted to know where he stands. And I was right. He was standing for the school. All the points that he gave was in favor of the school. He was speaking on behalf of the school, if that's a thing. So yeah, that was a lot of his points. And I told myself too, I don't really care what the school have to say. The case is in court. They should fix it. This was a kid. This is a 15-year-old or 14-year-old or 16-year-old. So I told myself, you know what? I'm going to listen to him and we're going to have a conversation. It's going to be civil and I will hear what he has to say on behalf of the school and I'll ask questions. He would be able to give me answers. And the good thing is this is a classmate to the boys being accused, his classmates, the boys being accused, and he's also in the hostel and he was around throughout the time where this was happening. And so I guess that was why he felt the need to reach out to me and give that side of the story, which honestly I was happy to hear. I honestly wanted to hear from a student of the school to see what it is going on between the students. And like I said, we talked a lot, we talked lengthy, we talked for a whole 3 to 4 hours. We started about 8 and the conversation ended by 12, I guess. Of all the things that he said, I'm not going to go into details about everything we talked about because some of them are, I surface, but there are some things that this boy revealed to me that I thought were very shocking. And I told myself, okay, I see your point, but the information were shocking. And I thought to myself to share this with you guys. So I'm just going to focus on the details or on the information that I was told by this Dowen student that I thought was shocking because it's not out there, it's not popular, it's not being said commonly. And so that is what we'll be talking about. At first, he revealed to me that he is in contact with his friends who are in custody, although he has not been in contact with them recently, but at the time they were in custody giving statements, he spoke to them through chat and it's confirmed, or he was able to confirm, that they're all sticking to the same story. They're all saying the same thing. The whole fact that Sylvester got his injuries from football game and not the fact that they beat him up. They're all denying they beat him up. So that has been settled in previous posts. We've heard that a lot of them are going to deny it. I'm not surprised that these kids are going to stick to one story. It's going to favor them. That is usually how it is. I'm not going to be surprised if all the parents called each other and go, our kids are all in this together. Let's stick together. Let's stand together. And so that might mean why they're all saying the same thing. And I guess the hostel masters are also sticking to the same story. The school will be sticking to the same story. It will favor them. I'm not surprised. I don't expect them to say the truth, but I hope they will. If there's a truth to be said, I hope that they speak up. But I think if one person speak up, it's going to be bad for the rest of them. So I'm going to guess that they will keep sticking to this story from the beginning to the end. So I'm not surprised about that part. The second thing that this child revealed to me was that 2 of the boys accused, 2 of the students, are day students. Now, when I heard this part, I was, okay, why? Like, this actually confused me. If these 2 boys being accused are actually day students, then how would they have beaten Sylvester? Because for them to be able to fit the description of how Sylvester was beaten, they would have to be in the hostel and they would have to be there at night. So if these 2 boys are day students, how are they in the hostel beating Sylvester? That was my thought. Then it occurred to me that maybe they stayed in the hostel that night, or maybe there's a way the students or the day students could actually pass time in the hostel. I mean, these are rich people. They usually have, passes all the time. And the boy told me that there is no way, that the 2 boys have never even stepped foot into the hostel premises. Like, they've never been in the hostel. Talk more of staying in the hostel to the point of going to beat Sylvester, that they're not bothered. So it's not a giving. It's not something to debate. And Other than that, the school usually have registers where they sign in and sign out. So maybe they will provide these registers in court, I guess, to prove that these two boys could not have been in the hostel at the time it's being claimed that Sylvester was beaten by them, and that they were not even bothers, and they've not been bothers since JSS1. So they're all day students from the beginning to the end. He even went on to show me a screenshot of the boy, one of them, saying, "But I'm a day student, why am I involved in this?" So I get that kind of I saw the screenshot of the chat, and that confused me, because honestly, if these two boys are actually day students, the credibility of these names being mentioned as the people who beat up Sylvester in the hostel is tarnished. This is our chance of actually getting a case out of this, and two of them are day students. It's confusing to me, because if this error is actually in effect, if this is an actual error that can be proven in court, that these two boys could not have been in the hostel or were not in the hostel, and they are not bothers at the time when Sylvester, or at the time when it's being said Sylvester was bullied, beaten in the hostel, then that is an issue. Let's assume the two of them are day students and the other two are boarders, and let's assume too that the other two who are boarders actually did in fact beat Sylvester, but for the fact that these two mentioned as a group are not boarders, and it can be proven that they were not in the hostel, it kind of raised questions to these two. That is, these two people, if at all they actually did beat Sylvester, can easily get away with it, because they were mentioned as a group. They were mentioned as collective. They were mentioned as the group of people who did one thing. So if two of them can prove, or if it's true that these two were not in the hostel, or have not even been to the hostel, or are not boarders, then the other two are most likely going to get out too. They're going to get off that accusation. And that was something that troubled me, because I was like, no, how can that be? This is an error that is troubling. So I don't know how they're going to prove it in court that these two boys were indeed boarders and were in the hostel when this happened. I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how. Now, the second thing that this student revealed to me that I also thought was shocking, he said after the whole thing blew up, after Sylvester has been announced that he had died, after the parents had gone on social media, the school questioned the students and asked them to come forward to say what they know. They even went to Sylvester's roommates, all 7 of them, questioned them whether or not Sylvester was beaten at any point. And it was said that these 7 students said they don't recall Sylvester being beaten. Although I had seen online, screenshots of supposed students chatting with people, telling them that we told the principal that Sylvester was being beaten, but he didn't listen to us. I've seen that screenshot. So what I want to understand now is, or what I want to assume is, that maybe in school when they were asked, they couldn't say the truth because they were scared, but now that they're at home, maybe they are free to say the truth. Maybe that would explain why in school they said they didn't see Sylvester being beaten, and now they are at home, it's easy for them to come up. I do hope that in court they are able to come out and speak as key witnesses, because the two things that are vital in this case, the two things that would make this case very easy for the family of Sylvester to win hands down without argument, is one, the tape recording of Sylvester making that confession, because I feel like the parents filmed every moment of his last days on earth. They filmed basically his entire suffering. The least they could have done is film that moment where he made that confession. In the boy's argument, the boy claimed that the parents don't have any proof of it. And in my head, I said, I actually think they do. I think Sylvester's family have a recording evidence, but they're keeping it for an actual court battle, which would make sense. That is my consolation. That is my hope. I don't know that they do. I just think that they do. I want to believe they do, because that is going to be very important. That would be all they would need to win this case. So I'm just going to hope that Sylvester's family have an actual recording where Sylvester made this confession, saying that they do have recording of basically every other thing that he went through in the last day. So this would be vital. This would be important. I pray that they do. I hope that they do, because I am rooting for them. I am standing for them. I'm rooting for Sylvester. But if they don't have it, then I don't know how this can go. I honestly don't know how to. I don't know how this can go. This is actually how I see it. Now, that is the first way I think they could win, the recording of Sylvester making those declarations. The second way that they could also win, if for some reason they don't have that recording, the second way that they could win is if the roommates of Sylvester speak They are the witnesses. They are the key witnesses. They were the ones who were told to leave the room to have Sylvester being beaten. They were the ones who were threatened to lie to the school that Sylvester got his injuries from football. So that is a damning evidence. If all 7 of them can speak up and say that, yes, that happened and these were the students who came to do it, case closed. We don't have to be having this argument. We won't even need to debate this. But this particular student I was chatting with told me that when they asked the kids in the hostel there, when the principal asked and the hostel master asked, and he too, as a senior, asked, all 7 of them said that Sylvester wasn't beaten. I mean, if the school is going to bribe or try to suppress them even at home, I don't think all 7 of them would be suppressed to the point that none of them could at least come out to speak out for their friend. Because even this same student I was chatting with told me that he asked Sylvester's closest friend, and that boy also said the same thing. He said, according to him, he quotes the boy, and I'm quoting him, quoting the boy, if anybody had beaten Sylvester, he would be the first to know. He even went on to say that Sylvester's sister, who was in the school at the time, after Sylvester had died at home, she was still in the school, came to him or spoke out to some of the students and said something of the effect of, I know they did not beat my brother, but what happened to him? So if the Sylvester sister is admitting to the fact, or if it's being said that Sylvester's sister admitted that she knows they didn't beat her brother, because clearly if they did within that period of time, Sylvester would have told her. Sylvester would have reported. It was something that Sylvester would have told. Or even if Sylvester didn't tell her, if she had seen Sylvester, she would have known something was wrong the next day. But, the day they said Sylvester was beaten, the next day they said Sylvester was seen playing football, and he also played football the third day. So it was from that third day that he sustained the injury the second day. It was the third day that he stopped playing because of the injury. So that's kind of like the things I got that I thought were very shocking. So basically, that is my thoughts on this part. If the video is there and the kids can speak out, then we have a case. But this particular student don't believe that there's a recording of Sylvester saying these things, and he also claimed that the roommates of Sylvester said that Sylvester wasn't beaten. Not to add the fact that 2 of these accused students are day students and they had never stepped foot into the hostel. Now, if all these are true, they will play in court. Even if you don't hear it from me, you're most likely going to hear it eventually if it's turned out to be true, which I'm sort of hoping it's not true. And that is part of the reason why I'm shocked. So those are the major things in our discussion that I thought I could share with you. The other ones are sort of minor. He made it clear that a lot of parents are also standing with the school. Some of the parents have taken their children to other schools, clearly. And that's kind of what it is. Another thing I think I remember that was said in our conversation, he said that after Sylvester was taken out of the school by the relation, he came back on a Thursday, or he came back the students said they saw him back in the school premises coming to the hostel to take his books so that he can go back home and read, which means 2 days after he had left, he still came back to the school and students saw him and he was in good condition. It wasn't as bad as it was in the videos that we see. So they saw him in good condition, or in better condition than what we saw on the videos of him suffering. He also pointed out the fact that Sylvester wasn't taken to a hospital, but I don't think that part is placed to speak. So these are the things that I think is shareable. The rest are it's not as shocking as this part. So that is it. That is actually the key point of everything that this particular student revealed to me. And I would like to hear your thoughts on this, because I understand that this is a sensitive issue. Personally, I didn't want to talk about this anymore because it's quite sensitive. Someone has lost a child and I understand their pain, or can I say I understand their pain? I understand that it's painful, and I understand that if there is a way that they could get justice for their child, or if there's any indication that someone might have been at fault, they would chase it. So I understand that part. So my only problem now is, if these things that this child has revealed to me are true, I am worried about the case Sylvester's family are going to present in court. I'm just worried about it. I mean, if they can prove 2 of them are day students, and if the roommates can't come out to speak on behalf of Sylvester or say that Sylvester was actually beaten by this identified student, then how else can they win this? Honestly, I would like to hear your thoughts. I would like to hear thoughts on this. I really would like to be educated on this right now. If you're a lawyer, if you're not a lawyer, please tag them to this post, share this video with them so that we can understand how this could play out. I know it's not in our place, we should leave it for the court, but this is kind of what I do, and I would like to know beforehand and see how this play out. How else could the family of Sylvester win this if it turned out that two of the students are actually day students and it can be proven that they were never in school? And if it turned out the students come out to say that the seniors didn't beat Sylvester, and also if there is no video evidence of Sylvester making this confession saying that there's video evidence of him basically suffering throughout, it's damning, it's strong, it's almost like I don't like it's I'm just confused. Originally, I didn't want to hear what the school have to say because I couldn't care less. But right now, it's almost like there is questions to ask. Although it's going to look as though I'm trying to shift side, that is not the case here. I have gone past the moment of anger. Initial time when this story came up, I was angry. I couldn't want to, like I didn't want to hear what the school have to say. I was very clear that they were sketching on their move of calling the parents to come and take the child first. And, that was it. But then when I spoke to this child and he gave me this information, I thought, maybe it's something to actually reason, it's something to think. He also sent, there's a document that was attached to our conversation. And I think a lot of Dowen parents are circulating this around. I'm going to share it on the screen and you can pause to read. So it's something to think about. It doesn't exactly change my stand. It only makes me question how strong is the foundation of where I'm standing. Because I am for the family of Sylvester. I want to be like, I don't see myself standing for the school or these kids. But if this evidence are true, then it's looking like we might lose this case. So guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are regarding these details I had just shared with you. Let's talk about it. We don't have to fight. We don't have to go back and forth with it. I just wanted to share with you guys so that you can hear it, because even if you don't hear it from me, you're most likely going to hear it from someone else. So let's talk about it. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Does this change anything? Do you think that there is something not adding up with this situation? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you.